Welcome back to ODT Rugby Chat for another week. Apologise for last week. Short week, lots of drama, just couldn't get it done. I was going to get Andrew Hoare on. I promised I wasn't going to talk about the Highlanders, but I was going to get Andrew Hoare on, have a chat about the mighty game up at Wakata, but he refused to come on. He thought he might talk about the Highlanders. So there's lots of big issues in club rugby this week. So I've got the maestro himself, who's in charge of all things rugby, Richard Perkins from the Union. And I've got one of the affected teams, club captain. I've got Hugh Tait from Alhambra-Union. So boys, let's get into it. Now look, here's my take on it. With the NPC starting early, you're now having some double-up rounds. Have we got enough depth in the clubs to have double-up rounds? Which means you're playing Thursday, Sunday, whatever it is.
Premier level, yeah, I think you have. I guess this year we're playing Prem 2s and Colts on midweek games as well, which has put the squeeze on even more in some places. But Premier level, you should be able to do it for sure.
What do you reckon?
Paul, well, welcome, to the show tonight. It's great to be here. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. And, I know you've got 5 viewers. And
it's got to be 8. It's got to be 8 or 9 rounds.
Well, 5 of that best favourite number.
Yep.
The double-up games, people have to understand the process. I suppose that the MRC goes through. They consult with the clubs.
Who's the MRC? Oh, that's
Metropolitan Rugby Council.
Yep.
They come back with... their wish list of what they want to have for club rugby. So getting 20 weeks in the season as it is and fitting it in with the finish so they can have the NPC players available, that's a big key for the clubs.
Well, that's a Brownie lets them go.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be there.
They've got 75 players in the squad, but,
They'll be there.
Oh, no, Brownie's a good fella. He'll have them there for the semi-finals and finals for sure.
Okay, look, I understand that. Okay,
Yep.
well, let's talk about then... I talked about a few weeks ago about Senior B. Do we have enough numbers for the Prem 2 competition? Now, we've had 4 defaults already. Your club's been affected. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we had 3 defaults, I think, at the weekend. Now, that's obviously because their players got dragged up to play Prems. So we had 3 defaults, and we've had numerous occasions where teams have played. They've had to borrow teams from the other teams. Most games are going ahead without live scrums. So, look, mate, where do we go with this grade? Do we keep this grade going?
Oh,
You've got to keep it going, but how do we do it? Is there enough players? You've got 11 teams.
Yeah, there's been an argument whether there is 11 Prem 2 teams around town, but you've got to have something for that player that is over 21, can't play Colts, needs his footy.
And he wants a serious game rather than playing in that senior grade.
Seniors, yeah. So he's aspiring to be a premier player, so he needs to have an avenue to get on the paddock.
But do we have to cut the number? I'm already hearing 2 teams are thinking about combining.
Oh, true.
Oh, yeah, Pirates and could they do that?
I think, Paul, you're quite right. This year has really been a bit of a squeeze on clubs for playing numbers. We go out and say, give us the team entries. We got the same number as last year, so that's the material we go on for the competitions.
Yep.
And I think in the past, Prem 2 and Colts may have been a bit neglected with university holidays, not playing enough rugby. So when they looked at it, they said, well, these guys were given some more games. You also got to think of club days, having 3 teams playing those days in your club rather than just the Prems, and it's, nothing much is happening. But what has shown is that just the depth in 1 or 2 clubs, I agree there were some defaults, which is quite alarming. We don't want any defaults. But what is that widespread? A bit early to say, but hopefully if we get through the initial period, there's a settling down of the competition.
So you're saying jury's still out?
Yeah, there's another wee niggle at the moment in that Polytech holidays are aligned with the schools.
Yep.
So university have their holidays at Easter.
Yep.
Polytech's on holiday now, and I know that's affected our Prem 2s for about 4 players, so and the Colts as well.
Well, the other thing, guys, and I've had some feedback. I've had some feedback from people this morning. Now, when we started the competition, all the points were going to count in Prem 2 rugby. Now, the mighty Metro Committee are going to change their minds, and now the whole first round is a waste of time. Tell me why.
Paul, there was a couple of options at the start of the year. Yes, one of them did include points initially for the first round. The feedback they got from clubs of settling down in the numbers was looking like that there may have been one of these 2 defaults. The clubs then sort of came back to the Metro Rugby Council, which is the match committee of that subcommittee of that council, and they deemed it, said, well, in fairness to clubs, give them some 5 weeks to settle down. There will be a trophy for the first round, so all's not lost. They will get a trophy for the first round.
You may as well kiss your sister.
But hold on, I'll just finish there.
Come on, you've got to get these answers out.
So then they have a full round robin, which will kick the competition off, so teams not falling away, later on when they got their full team, they got something to play for. Yeah. They're going to the semi-final. Look, one man's opinion, it's not ideal situation to drop them. I agree with that.
I've got to catch you up for that. Do you agree with them?
Yeah.
You drop the points and start again.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Unbelievable. I can't believe I'm finding a losing battle. Okay, let's talk about the...
That's the one.
Talk about, are you happy with the number of NPC players playing in club rugby? Are you happy with the way Brownie's going? I'm just stirring because I can. Or are you happy with the players coming back and playing club rugby?
Oh, look, for us, we've only got Breeny at the moment because Scott Manson's injured, but Breeny's been huge. He's our captain, so he's going, doing everything we ask him. I guess as the season goes by, he's going to be...
It's a bit tougher.
Yeah, he's less involvement on a Tuesday, Thursday, but if he fronts up on Saturday and continues his form, then no argument.
Okay, so look, the big thing I've also had a lot of comment from people is Highlander players. Now, Ralph, can you tell me, how does it work? How do we get Highlander players allocated to the teams?
Yeah, well, quickly, because I've got to be brief.
Yes.
The clubs are aware that, and they've agreed to it, that if the Highlander players are available to be placed in the clubs, they're willing to accept that in club rugby.
Right.
I myself get notified by the Highlanders through Greg O'Brien.
On what day? Sometime during the week?
Midweek.
Right.
Midweek, yeah. And by Thursday, they can be confirmed.
And that, do they train? Do those guys go and train for the teams? Or is that sometimes yes, sometimes no?
My understanding is once they've been released by the Highlanders to play, there's contact made with their club. And they're released to play for that training. Yeah.
Okay, there was a big issue at the weekend. Some of the Highlander boys went and played club rugby. We saw Horey and Woodcock in club rugby, and then we had this Highlander train-on squad, which includes 2 or 3 young guys from town. Hugh Blake was one. The wee whitebait from Tony Ensor from Kaikorai was another. They both could have played for their club teams who were really struggling on Thursday. They were both sitting on the sideline. They weren't allowed to play. Now, I know you can't come in here, Ralph, but to me, that's just not right.
No, if they're available, I think you'd...
Especially if they're not even really part of the squad,
Yeah, if they're... But they're all part of that squad now anyway, but you'd like to think...
But they're still a train-on squad. I know Tony Ensor's already played, but they're still part of that train-on squad, aren't they?
A bye week, they haven't played a lot of footy, those names you mentioned.
They haven't played footy at all.
No.
And the other one, just for your information, was I've been talking to the varsity boys, like... Faddis came back from a sevens camp. Now, he's played 23 minutes of rugby all season. Now, he's not even on the Sevens tour, and Gordon Titchens says he's not allowed to play. So some stage, we've got to have a bit of a rationalisation here, because I think it's encroaching into club rugby too much, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right there, Paul. I think the club rugby over the years has struggled along and been the bottom of the food chain. In degrees, you accept that. I think a lot of... holding players back, of course, we don't know all the information of what's all behind that.
They lose their form.
Yeah. And I think, if you ask the players themselves, and you mentioned a couple that went up and played for the Maniatoto, great to see, great turnout of the crowd.
I think it's fantastic, those guys, but they got to play, and you got these 2 young guys in town that just didn't get to play.
I think the players would like to play. I'm not sure of the reasons, the rationale why. We'd love to see them in club rugby. As you know, they pass on the skills, etc. They lift the players in their own team. And of course, the competition, as it currently stands, is really competitive, and it just adds another factor and flavour to it.
Okay, boys, we better move on to our Form 15. We've made a bit of a cock-up this week, lads. I think that the new players I was going to bring in are a week old, but we'll go with them to give them some recognition. So we're putting Pete Merrilies back into our team. We're dropping the little midget from the Sharks. We're putting the thug in from Alhambra-Union. But this was based on 2 weeks ago, so you really can't take this weekend's games into account. We are also putting in Willis Scott. Wolfries hasn't played for a couple of weeks. He's out. Willis Scott's been playing good. You've watched a bit of him play, Ralph. He's a pretty tidy wee footballer.
Yeah, very good last year, and obviously improved and carrying on his good form.
Now, this is a contentious one. We've got Andrew Melville coming into the side. Now, the reason for this is because they beat Southern, and they called him the human torpedo. He's a very fat torpedo, you'd have to say. So he just gets a run on that. I think it only lasts a week. I think you all agree. Graham Cashmore's played for every club in town, including yours, but he's been dumped. Chris Bell on the back of his 150 games. And he's playing pretty good. He plays pretty good code, this boy. Yeah. And the other boys I'm putting in...
He's mixed a lot.
Oh, look at... Well, these guys... Ryan Thompson, I've never heard of him. He's out. Sam Paul, he's gone from Dunedin. We're putting in Richard Thompson from Dunedin. Charlie Elliott from Harbour, based on that game a couple of weeks ago. And we're even going to throw out Craig Muller, because Pirates just don't win anymore. So he's out, and he's been replaced by Nick McLennan.
The son of... Trevor McLennan.
Is he his son?
Yes.
He's not a bad kid.
Big burly tight.
Now, boys, over in the back line, I'm putting Brad Weber in a half-back. Nick Anier's gone because he's now gone on another bloody tour that he can't play rugby. He's on the university's tour. Breeny must be still on the side. Guy Schwickard goes into 12. Michael Collins has broken his jaw, so he's out. Schwickard will be gone next week because he's gone on that tour as well.
Oh, Paul, I don't think it's quite broken. Might be just a wee
Just a
hairline.
crack.
So, yeah,
6 weeks out, they're still saying. Is that right?
That's a long time.
Now we're putting this boy in. He's coming in on the wing for Nathan Cargo. Is this going any good? Scored a couple of tries the other day when you beat somebody.
Yeah, New Zealand touch player.
He's the touch player.
Plenty of gas.
Right.
Good skill set.
Right.
As well.
And we're putting Corey Rapini in as well. He must be playing
Oh, he was at fullback.
Hayden McBride got bumped off on the weekend by a big Dunedin winger, so he's out. Right, boys, that's F1 15. Let's move on. We're running out of time. We'll just move on to this weekend's games, and we'll just get a score, just a prediction of win or loss. So, first game for you, Ralph, it's the Sharks up against Pirates. For the Larry Salmon.
The Larry Salmon, a dear old friend in the day when I was playing there. A great match. I'll have to go the Sharks.
He goes to the Sharks. What are you going?
Yeah,
Sticking with the Sharks. Harbour versus Alhambra. You'd have to win, wouldn't you?
Alhambra-Union, yeah.
What do you think, Ralph? Harbour playing at home.
Well, that'll be a
They
tight
got thrashed
one.
last
Harbour
thrashed
at
the
home. Alhambra-Union.
You going to Alhambra-Union?
I'll go Alhambra-Union.
Okay. Uni versus GI.
Uni got a few out. It'll be closer than you expect. Is it University at home?
Yep.
Varsity.
Yeah, Varsity at home.
You're going Varsity?
Varsity.
Okay, the big game of the weekend will be the Eels playing Southern, and the Eels are playing at home.
Oh, Eels at home, super strong to beat out there. Ben Knoll is one name that's not missing up there. He was sensational last week. The Magpies, never underestimate them. It'll be a huge battle, 1 or 2 points. I'm going to go for the draw.
It's hard. Oh, he's
I'm
going for the draw.
On the fence.
Righto.
I saw Southern smash us on Thursday.
So you're going with them?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You go with Southern and Zinkyke.
Zinkyke.
Right, you go with
At home, Monticello.
It's at Monticello.
I'm going to go for Zingaree.
Good work. Righto, boys. That's the Rugby Chat for another week. Just to finish up, I think in the big game, Tyree might be just a wee bit strong for Southern. And look, don't lose faith in the Highlanders. Horry's lost 25 games in a row. He can't even win a club game. But I think this could be their day. Saturday night, Sharks go down. And we'll see you again next week.